Greetings from Storybrooke. I'm Bobby Hawk.
And I'm Elizabeth Placencia.
And this is the land where we have pancakes. Yeah, pancakes. We also talk about ABC's hit series Once Upon a Time. How are you doing this week, Elizabeth?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing?
Oh, apparently the dogs are doing okay, but I've been all right. A lot going on at work, but how about yourself? I heard you might be getting a new job, hopefully.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, I'm trying to become a bus driver, and I have a possible new training job, and if the training goes great and everything works out, I'll have a job. So I'm excited. So I'm crossing my fingers and toes, hoping this works out.
Yeah, whenever I picture you like behind the wheel of the bus, I always think of like Sandra Bullock in Speed.
I swear, when I get my license, I thought of this today. I'm going to get my license, and I'm going to post on Facebook the picture from Speed, and like maybe a caption like "Get out of the way" or something like that, like something funny, and then a picture of my driver's license. So that's what I was planning on doing.
Sounds very cool. All right, so let me see. Why don't you go ahead and start us off with this week's rhyming summary?
All right. Season 6, episode, is it 18 or 19? I think I put 18. I forget.
I don't even remember, honestly.
Okay. Zelina's gone rogue. What's new? And Snow is making a big wedding to do. Emma and Hook are going along for the ride, while David and Snow cannot decide. But you know who's not into the wedding bliss is Zelina, who is with so much going on and the final battle approaching, the end is certainly nigh. In this week's episode, Where Bluebirds Fly.
Where bluebirds fly, high above the rainbow.
You're such a beautiful singer, Bobby.
Oh, I know. I would. I mean, okay, so obviously with a title like that, we all knew that we were going to be going to Oz this week. And so for the most part, it was more or less a Zelina-centric episode. Because really, that's, as far as characters go, that's, with the exception of Dorothy for a few episodes, I guess, Zelina is really the only character we've gotten, that has really stuck around for any, had any kind of impact on the show, really,
But she hasn't had much impact on the show, especially this season. She's more like in the background. At least that's how I feel.
Well, yeah, I mean, she's definitely a secondary character, but I mean,
at least she's one secondary character where they're moving her story along.
Yeah, that's true. And I also feel like she's been one of the most consistent characters as far as the series as a whole. But
yeah.
But that's actually one of my points that we'll get to later. But like I said, this was mostly Zelina's episode, and instead of starting with the A story, I figured we'd start with like the flashbacks of this week's episode.
Okay.
The storyline, as far as like when we get into like past lands and other realms and everything like that, Oz has always been one of my favorite places to visit. Growing up, Wizard of Oz was always one of my favorite series of stories and whatnot, and I like the different twists and turns they take with the story for the most part. The only thing that does bother me, I guess, is that because they do so well with what they do, in my opinion, they do so well with what they do have, it makes you like want to know more of like, what's going on that they haven't shown you, like okay, when the episode starts out, Zelina's like a freak for having magic. Like, isn't Oz magical?
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it has witches, which makes it magical, but I don't know that anybody else in Oz has power besides the witches, because the Munchkins don't.
No.
So I don't
Yeah.
know. Beyond that, I don't know. I saw The Wizard of Oz growing up as a kid, and I love that movie. But when it comes to this show, Oz is not really my favorite place.
Yeah, I kind of got that tone from you when you were talking earlier. So apparently you weren't a big fan of this week's episode.
I just don't like the Black Fairy, and any scenes that she's in, I could do without. That's just how I feel.
What? Okay, okay. Well, we'll get okay, we'll get to the Black Fairy in a bit. I did want to touch on a few things more on what's going on in Oz. In that cold open, I mean, it was pretty obvious that that guy was going to be the Tin Man.
Oh, definitely. That was.
I mean, as soon as he grabbed
obvious.
the axe, well, I mean, no, not even before he grabbed the axe. As soon as they were talking about the tree that he chopped down, I mean, it was obvious that he was the Tin Man. And you actually had a note about the tree that he chopped down.
Yeah, I was just like upset because I'm like, his punishment is to become tin because he chopped down a tree. Like, how dumb is that? That's
Well,
like one of the dumbest punishments I've ever heard.
you're not far from wrong. Uh, or far from right. Sorry. Like back in medieval times, I mean, the same thing would happen here, where like if like a king caught you like hunting in his forest, you would be executed. Huh?
That's a good point. I didn't even think of that. I was not thinking of my history knowledge right there.
But you would be like executed for, you know, like stealing from the king for hunting for food, you know. So I mean, it's unfortunately things like that did happen, especially when you've got like a like have okay. Have we met the Wicked Witch of the North?
I don't think so. Or maybe she was one of the witches that. Remember when Zelina was recruited by Glinda to be one of on their particular round table ish in Oz, and then there's two other witches there.
Right.
But I don't remember what their names were. Maybe one of them was Witch of the North, but they were all good. So I don't know.
So maybe there's a good witch of the North and a wicked witch of the North. Maybe there's 8 witches. You know, there's like a good and a bad for each direction.
Maybe. I mean, we haven't explored that, so all we can do is speculate.
See, and this is what just as I was touching on earlier, you know, it's like that's what I don't like about, unfortunately, you know, like, you know, they give enough backstory, or I don't know, enough backstory to make you interested in, like, you know, what's going on, but you know you're never going to know because you know that's not you know, I mean, we've been on for what, 6 seasons right now, and this is maybe like how many episodes, you know, like at most maybe a dozen as far as Oz goes.
You think there's a dozen?
I said at most.
Less.
I was being generous. Being generous. It's probably more like 6 to 8.
Actually, no, we did get half a season in season 4 of Oz, right? So maybe
was the whole season? Was the whole season?
No, half season.
Well, that's what I meant. Was that whole story, that whole half season Oz?
They were between Oz and Storybrooke. So maybe you're about right with a number of episodes. Oh, Bobby, I can't hear you.
Yeah, sorry. There's no, you're fine. There's a lot. Hold on. Oh, there you go. Okay, there was a lot of noise out here. I was trying to stop the commotion from going on. All right. So, where were we? I'm sorry, Liz. I lost my train of thought there.
We were talking about Zelina. We were talking about Oz and how many episodes there were.
Oh, yeah.
Around, I think you're right. Possibly around a dozen.
Yeah. But I mean, it doesn't really matter. I mean, it's not like we visited, with the exception of maybe Neverland. It's not, and then of course the Enchanted Forest. We never really. It's not like we spent a whole lot of time in other realms, and you know, a lot of that has to do with budget, because every time we come across another realm, there's people that are hating on like all the special effects it takes to go into bring those other realms to life, and with good reason in some cases.
Like which realm? We talk like any realm, or
just like in Camelot, you know, like everyone used to complain about how the castle looked, how it was
yeah.
fake. It's okay, see?
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah. But anyway, like I said, that's mostly why we get, stories in Storybrooke and maybe the Enchanted Forest, because they don't have to spend a whole lot, and they don't have to like make it look fake, I guess. With the
Yeah.
exception, unless they go into like ballrooms in the Enchanted Forest and stuff like that. Anytime they do any kind of green screen stuff, they just don't have the budget for it, unfortunately. But like I was saying earlier, as far as the Oz storylines, I really liked like the Easter eggs we got in this episode, like how apparently she was the one, or Zelena was the one that was responsible for making the Cowardly Lion.
Yeah, I thought that was actually really funny. Like, she's like, I thought lions are supposed to be brave or coward, and I was
Right.
kind of laughing at that.
Yeah, and I didn't see that coming, because like when they didn't say the lion, they said like the beast was going to be protecting this Crimson Heart, and then it turned out to be the lion. Right. And as soon as the lion showed up, I mean, I knew what was going to happen. Well, I knew what the lion was, but I mean, it was attacking them, so obviously it wasn't a coward. So I mean, I thought that all played out pretty cool.
I was looking around for the Scarecrow. I was like, where's the rest of the gang? Where's everybody at?
That was exactly my next,
where's the Scarecrow?
Yeah, exactly. Where's the Scarecrow? And those are the types of things, like, I don't even remember. I know, like, we saw Dorothy as a girl, and then, like, later on we got her in the arc that you were talking about earlier, where she was, like, early 20s, maybe, whatever she was. But I really, to be honest with you, don't quite remember if they gave us, I know we didn't see it, but I don't even remember if it was told as to whether Dorothy did any of the things that we're all familiar with her doing. I don't remember either. As far as like you said, meeting the Scarecrow and even Zelena saying in this episode, oh God, now I'm totally drawing a blank. I'm sorry. Zelena saying in this episode, like, maybe Dorothy will save you to the Tin Man.
She was so mean to him. The Tin Man was always my favorite of the three. So I was like, my heart was going out to him.
Well, I mean, to be fair, he came across her at a point where she was definitely at her
worst.
Yeah. Yeah.
He saw her at her best and her worst.
Right, and to be fair, again, he did almost get through to her.
Yeah, but he didn't.
Right, and that's like just that scene where like he's finally turned a 10. Like I feel like just in that scene alone, Zelena went through a lot of like she was gonna help him. She was trying to help him, and she was even happy when she was able to help him, until that thing started sucking the magic from her. And then all of a sudden it was like, you're tricking me. Who are you working with? And he's like, what are you talking about? She's like, Dorothy put you up to this, didn't she? And he's like, what are you talking about? I don't know who you're talking about. I'm just trying. I didn't know this was going to happen. I'm just trying, and
yeah.
And then like, I don't know, for a moment it seemed like she might, help him, and then, I don't know. I really like that scene.
It was interesting watching his face go into become 10, like seeing the special effects of that. Mm-hmm. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, that was actually pretty decent, contrary to our little rant on special effects earlier. Although earlier in the episode, earlier in the episode when he pulled up his sleeve, I thought that looked kind of stupid, but I thought the face effect was really cool. But what did it remind you of?
It reminded me when back in season 1, when August turned back into wood.
Right. Yes. Mm-hmm.
And you saw it on his face, him become wood again, because Emma needed to break the curse, and
right.
So it kind of was like a flashback in my mind to that.
Yeah, I could definitely see that, and that was an effect that I feel that they did fairly well as well.
Yeah.
All right, so I feel like that's really all we had to talk about as far as the flashbacks go. So moving on, in the modern day, in present day Storybrooke. So Zelina, I don't know if it's as much as trying to like prove her worth, but I feel like that's what she's always been about, is trying to prove her worth. So like, to prove that she's the most powerful, she decides to take on the Black Fairy herself.
She's always been that way, and I think that comes from the neglect of her mother giving her up.
Exactly. That's exactly
where it comes from, So it's like she's never gonna feel good enough or the best, because she's always gonna have. I guess it's like she's always gonna have a little hole in her heart, the way Regina had, because her mother gave her up. She's gone through all these phases in her life where no one wanted her, or she wasn't good enough. So I can't blame her for feeling that way, I guess, when I think about it.
No, and it's true. And for the most part, like, it seems like everyone in town doesn't do anything to make her feel different than that, Like, they all kind of brush her aside, and even her own sister at times, at most times, actually. So yeah, like you said, because of that, she decides to take on the Black Fairy herself. And like you said, you do not like the Black Fairy. And I think the first moments we see her in this episode are kind of telling as to why. And like, that whole new baby smell thing was kind of creepy.
That baby's several months old. Do babies still have that new baby smell after that long? I wouldn't know.
I'm sorry, you froze there for a second. What was that, Elizabeth?
Oh. I was wondering how long babies have a new baby smell for. I haven't been around babies long enough to know. So I'm like, that baby's got to be several months old. Does it still have the new baby smell?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. For maybe, until they start like walking, while they're in a crib and everything like that, yeah, they're probably going to have that new baby smell. But I don't know, just the way she said it and everything about it was just like, definitely like, ugh. But yeah, and like every time I see her on screen, I just want to know, like, what is her deal? What's up with this? Why is she like this? I don't know. And they haven't given us any like any kind of inkling as to why she's like this.
Well, I don't think this is a spoiler to say that I think next episode deals a lot with her.
Well,
the
yeah,
Black
obviously.
Fairy.
Yeah.
And I think that the next episode, this Sunday's episode, is going to be centered around her.
Mm-hmm. Given the last few moments of this episode, I would definitely.
Yeah.
What's the name of the episode,
The Black Fairy.
Oh, well then, there we go.
And I think that's the name of this week's episode, because I know there isn't an episode titled The Black Fairy. I just forget if it's this week's episode or next week. But
yeah, you are right. I just like you said, I couldn't remember.
I think it is this week's, because we only have 3 weeks left of this season, I think.
Wow. Okay. So I lost my spot there. Okay. So Zelina feels like she's one of. Like I mentioned earlier, Zelina feels like she's been one of the most consistent characters. Like we just mentioned, actually, what you kind of it's like you read my notes ahead of me.
No, I didn't.
No, I know you didn't. I'm telling you, you just made my point for me. That earlier when you said that, like, Zelina. The reason Zelina's gone down the path that she has is because she feels that she has to prove herself more powerful, because that's why she was rejected. And so, I mean, literally, like, it's exactly what you said earlier. So I don't even know why I brought it up. Great minds think alike. All right. And then I still don't understand. Regina is the one person who, like, not only is she Zelina's sister and is trying to form a bond with her and trying to keep her from going down the path she went down, but she's been down that path before. She knows what it's like. She knows what it's like to not be accepted and not be loved. And so she should be the first one to have Zelina's back, but instead she's the first one to cast shade at her.
Oh, yeah. Honestly, I have two opinions on that. Number one, she's still mad about the whole Robin situation, and Robin died, and so she blamed that on Zelina. And we all know that, and that's why she's been casting a lot of shade at her all season. And the other reason is it may just be siblings fighting. Siblings fight and have different opinions, and they don't. I don't know about all the siblings out there in the world, but me and my brother, we don't really get along, and we butt heads a lot. So I can see why they butt heads a lot, because they just have different points of view. They see things differently. And so when Zelina's like, I'm going to do this by myself, and Zelina's like, no, you're being stupid. Or Regina's like, no, you're being stupid. It's like, they're butting heads like siblings tend to do.
No, I can see that. I can see that. I guess it's just that, like, I mean, you can disagree without, like, Regina just downright, like, treats her like dirt at some point.
That's true. Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I mean, like when she hands her that thing, it's like, why don't you just go somewhere where you can be on top? Just leave us alone.
Yeah, that was mean.
Yeah, I mean, just and like I said, Regina should be like the one when everyone else is saying we need to do something about Zelina. Regina should be the one being like, hold on a second, like, remember, I was the one, just a few years ago, I tried to kill you. Remember how many times I tried to kill you, Snow?
Let's not talk about the past.
Yeah, I've lost count of how many times I tried to kill you. There are times that you don't even remember or know that I tried to kill you.
But we'll bring them up in this flashback.
But yeah, and so, like, I feel like as far as Zelina is concerned, I just really feel like Regina should be there for her. And since when did Regina become the Hulk and, like, throw Zelina across the mine like that?
I don't know.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
But
like when she caused an avalanche by throwing.
I thought Zelina threw Regina.
No, Regina threw Zelina. And, like, it didn't look like there was magic involved. So I don't know, like when all of a sudden did Regina have super strength?
I don't know. I must have been cooking while that scene was going on, because I was cooking dinner earlier and watching the show again.
I mean, it wasn't just like like they were both kind of like tussling, and then Zelina just got thrown. And Lana, it just totally caught me off guard. And I mean, thrown hard enough that it caused an avalanche, and Zelina didn't like bat an eye. Zelina wasn't like, wow, that hurt.
See, none of them ever bat an eye. Like, seriously, Snow, Charming, Hook, Emma, they've all been thrown by someone with magic that's thrown clear across the room, and either they become unconscious for a little bit and someone shakes them and wakes them up, or they wake up or they get up right away and they just back on their feet. And how does that not hurt you?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, this time she didn't even like kind of shook her head a little bit and was like, man, what was that?
Yeah. They all get, and it's so stupid. I'm constantly thinking how stupid it is how they all get thrown in unconscious so easily. Like, they're all supposed to be so powerful, and yet, I mean, Charming and Hook, I understand they're thrown there unconscious. I get that a little bit more. But if you have magic and you're thrown across the room and you just get knocked out that easily, I'm sorry, but shouldn't you be more powerful than that?
And then as far as powerful goes, I don't even have this in the notes. With them being, okay, then they're all like, oh, you trapped us in the mines. How did they not have the power to just magic themselves up out of the mines?
Right? Like I was wondering that too.
Yeah, they're not trapped. In fact, Zelina spent this whole episode saying how she has so much power she can take out the Black Fairy.
And she's more power than Regina.
Right, but neither of them have enough power to just magic themselves out of the mines.
Or clear the rocks with their magic.
Oh, and just like everything about, yeah. I mean, there was definitely some loopholes there. But as far as the Black Fairy coming in, and this scene made me realize that we see where Rumple gets his charm, as well as his powers of manipulation, because she totally played Zelina. She obviously was never trying to get Zelina to work with her in the first place. because all she wanted to do was manipulate her magic to create those dark crystals. But of course, ultimately, Zelena uses that Crimson Heart that we see in the flashback to take all the magic from herself, and in doing so, like destroy any magic that she's created.
I think that was the most selfless thing I think she's ever done on the show.
True.
Is it?
Yeah.
She's pretty selfish.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean,
that and killing Hades for Regina.
Yeah, I mean, I was just trying to think that she had mentioned something. I don't even remember how she did that, but yes, I remember. Okay, yeah, but yes, I don't know, one of those two things. But I mean, I don't know, magic. Like she even said in the flashback, she tells the Tin Man, "You're wrong. Magic is what makes me special."
Yeah,
and so even though it's not, she thought it was, and she. Even though she believes that's what makes her, she decides to give it up in order to help. What do you think she was just trying to help Regina or help everybody? I mean,
I don't know.
Obviously, she was trying to help everybody. I mean, in the long run, but I just kind of feel like if Regina wasn't there, I don't know if she would have been making that same sacrifice.
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know what to say on that one.
Yeah, I don't know. That's just kind of a question that came to me as I was sitting here. Just something to chew on. All right.
I've already had my fill of food for the night.
Oh yeah, you did say your stomach was feeling upset.
My stomach's all better now, but I just ate too much pasta.
Oh yeah, I guess a lot of carbs. That'll definitely fill you up quick.
Yeah, but it was so good. And I made it myself.
Oh, okay. The way you just said that reminded me of those old shake and bake commercials. You know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't know, but it sounds funny.
Like there was it would be like a mom and daughter in a kitchen making shake and bake like pork chops or something, and the little girl would be like, "And I helped." I don't know. It's the way you say it. Anyway, okay, so Selena said, okay, what did I write here? I'm sorry, I can't even. Okay, so Selena said she was going to leave, but changed her mind. Oh, do you think she changed her mind like literally at the last minute, like as that tornado was coming for her? Do you think she changed her mind then, or do you think she realized, beforehand? I guess either way, I guess it doesn't matter. But now that she has the heart, though, like, is the Tin Man still tin? Like, now she has this heart that's full of magic.
I don't know if he still has like a tin. Because she did it in a different land. So it's like, how would that affect him in Oz?
No, she'd have to put that heart in him.
Right? That's what I'm saying. She hasn't done that.
Unless Dorothy's helped him in some way, like she alluded to, and that we haven't seen. I don't know. So that almost makes me wonder, like, will we get a moment if we do get another season or whatever? Like, I don't know. It makes me feel like now that she's done what she's done, this selfless act, and she has this heart. She knows that she has this friend that she did wrong once, and she should try to maybe have Regina help her get to Oz to help him.
Yeah. I don't know on that one. I mean, I would love a little bit more of the Tin Man story, but I don't think we're gonna get it. So.
No, we won't. But I just feel like, like I said, unless Zelena knows that Dorothy did help him, I don't know. I just felt like there's a little missing thing there, because I feel like, he should be helped in some way. I just feel like there's not a sense of closure as far as that story goes now.
No, there isn't. And it was weird how it was completely separate from what, usually when they have a flashback of a character, 9 times out of 10, they're bringing that character to Storybrooke.
No, yes.
And he was just completely separate backstory of her past. She didn't even bring him up in the present. So it was just a weird backstory that didn't have much to do with the present.
Well, the Crimson Heart.
Well, I understand that they had to tie in the Crimson Heart, but I guess,
But
yeah, maybe my...
the backstory also let us know that the Crimson Heart would steal her magic. And, you know, I mean, I can understand. I see where you're coming from with the Tin Man himself, as far as not visiting Storybrooke, but I do feel that the rest of it tied together rather nicely, honestly. And maybe if there had been some sort of like way to bring the Tin Man into the present story, there would have been a little bit more closure, because then we would have found out that, you know, he did indeed, you know, get saved by someone or something. Whatever that may be. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just, like you said, it would be great to see exactly what happened with him, but we probably never will.
No, I don't. I agree. We probably never will.
But your favorite part of this episode probably is Charming's planning Emma and Hook's wedding.
Yeah, that was really cute. But it was really cute to see Snow's enthusiasm over it. But when she went to Granny's, I'm like, no, heck no.
We are not having our wedding at Denny's.
No, I'm going to speak for Emma, and I'm going to say no. Like, that was the worst idea Snow has ever had.
No, I definitely agree. I mean, I thought the town hall was kind of nice. But then
I agree. The town hall was nicer.
But I don't understand, like, okay, why? It seemed like Charming was on board at first, and then all of a sudden, it wasn't. If you watch the episode, if you like, it looks like he's on board at first until he goes and sees Henry.
No, it looks like he's being a guy, and just, no offense.
Oh God!
and going along for the ride like Emma and Hook were doing. They were just, everybody was letting Snow take charge, and Charming just seemed like whatever about it. And,
no, but even in the scene where he finds Henry, and sees Henry in the author coma or whatnot, and they talk about what's going on there, and then Charming tells Henry what's going on about the wedding thing, and then Henry says, "Oh, that sounds like
Grandma."
Yeah, that sounds like Grandma and her hope thing. And then Charming's like, "Well, your grandma usually knows what she's doing."
Yeah.
So even then, like even if it was just him trying to go along with, like you're saying, there was no inkling of like, why are we doing this from him until after that scene with Henry. Then all of a sudden he was all gung-ho about like trying to come up with a reason not to do it. And in that scene with Henry, as they're walking out the door, he pauses for a moment and looks at the book that Henry was writing in.
Yeah.
At the symbols. And like,
I was wondering about that. Like, what was that about? What did he see?
That's what I'm asking. It could be nothing. It could be nothing.
It's something.
But that's what I'm saying, that he was like totally like, okay, I won't even say totally on board, but it wasn't like he was trying to stop it from happening. And then all of a sudden he talked to Henry, saw those symbols, and then the next scene it was like, no, we can't have the wedding here. No, we can't have the wedding here. Why are we doing this at all? So it just...
And everything that Henry has in that book is like different symbols. We don't know what they mean yet.
Right.
And it almost looked like he recognized something that Henry had written.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what to make of that though, because it's like either next week or the week after there'll be a clip of like last week on Once Upon a Time, and then they'll flash back to it.
Right.
And then they'll explain it in the next in the episode. Other than that, I don't know if they'll go back to it or not. But usually when there's a look like that and the camera and it's on camera and you're capturing that moment, it means something.
No, I know. And like the way they lingered on him for a moment as he did that. Yeah, like I just said, and his attitude just totally changed. Like I said, it was like he recognized one of the symbols in the book.
But from what I know about the episodes, the order that the episodes are going in for the rest of the season, the wedding still takes place before the final battle.
Mm-hmm.
So why have this argument to begin with? Are they gonna in another episode? Are they gonna say, "Heck, let's just do it. Let's just get married"? Like, I mean, why have this hesitation now if we know how the order of the rest of the season is gonna go?
I thought the same thing, Elizabeth. I thought the same thing. Like, that's exactly what I was thinking, actually, while I was watching the episode, like, for the fourth time. I was like, wait a second. Like, if we're, you know, like you said, we know the wedding is going to happen before the final battle, so what are we doing here? Because, I don't know, maybe they find a moment where the Black Fairy can't harm them. You know, they're able to fend her off for an hour. I don't know.
I know a little bit more, but I'm not gonna say anything.
Oh, okay.
It's not spoiler time yet.
All right. Well, we'll get into spoilers in just a moment then. But okay, for all that being said, do you think that Charming was right? Do you think they should wait?
I can see both Snow and Charming's point of view. Snow is excited to do this. She wants to do it while they can do it. So I can see her point of view. And as a mother, she wants those experiences with her daughter that she never had. So she wants to make the most of this one. I get that. And then I see Charming's side where he's like, okay, but I want her to live a long, happy life with her new husband. You know, like he wants to see that for her. And so I understand both points of view. Whether either view is right or wrong, that I don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't say either one is necessarily right or wrong. I would just, I mean, it's just like you said, it's just a different point of view. You know, should again, like I said earlier, just something to chew on. You know, should she wait or is Snow right? You know, this would give them hope. But like Charming said, you know, it was the greatest day of my life, and it also turned into one of the worst because it ended up being like the day that I had, you know, like totally understand, like you said, totally understand both perspectives, and it'd be hard to like make a real decision without, you know, being in that person's shoes actually. And then of course you've got like the Black Fairy and the final battle, and like the question that we just keep getting left with, which finally, okay, that was the only thing that caught me off. Like at the end of this episode, Black Fairy's like, oh no, the Blue Fairy's awake. So apparently she wasn't even trying to keep the Blue Fairy asleep because of like stealing her magic or because she thought the Blue Fairy would interfere. She didn't want her to tell Rumple the real reason that, and the way she worded that, what is the real reason, that she gave him up? So does that mean Rumple thinks he knows a reason and that's not the reason? And then I don't understand like why that would even matter, honestly.
Right? I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, why do we care about that? You already did it. You gave him up. Why do we care why you did it?
Well, I care why she did it, but like, just like I said, the way she worded it, like the real reason. It's like, well, what do you mean the real reason? I don't even know a reason.
Yeah, but I mean, for all the interactions that Blue and Rumple have had in the past, and
how has she not brought it up to him in the past to begin with?
That was what I was about to say. Yeah, but did she always maybe? Excuse me. No, maybe she didn't. Blue Fairy didn't know that Rumple was that was her son, Black Fairy's son. Maybe she didn't know until recently.
I don't know.
Maybe she just knew she gave up her. Maybe she knew Black Fairy gave up her baby, but she didn't know who the baby was. And that it's Rumple.
It's possible, but I don't know. I mean, when you're talking about like Black Fairy and Blue Fairy, you're almost talking about like it almost seems like the Black Fairy and the Blue Fairy are the source of good and dark magic. Period. Maybe
the final showdown should be between the Blue Fairy and the Black Fairy.
Yeah, right. Maybe it will be.
Let Emma get married and live happily ever after. And let the Blue Fairy deal with it.
And do you think we'll see Tiger Lily again? Well, I'm
Probably
sure we'll
not.
probably no. I think we'll see her next week because we know that Tiger Lily is the person who was trying to keep the Black Fairy from becoming the Black Fairy. Like she was like the Tinkerbell to the
Oh,
Black.
so you think we'll see her in a flashback?
Yeah. When we get Black Fairy's story, where
Okay.
we'll get to see Tiger Lily as a fairy trying to stop uh whatever she was. I mean, she couldn't have been the Black Fairy,
Should it be another color at that point?
right? Maybe didn't we discuss this before? I think we said maybe
Yes,
it
we
was the
did.
purple. I think she said maybe she's the purple fairy.
Was that Tony that said that?
Yeah, possible. Yes, but yeah, it was the three of us we did discuss that before.
Yeah.
But and that's what I feel like I feel like I'm playing a broken record here, where at the end of the episode I just keep asking about the Black Fairy, and so I'm really like glad that we're finally going to get at least some answers next week.
If you say so, I guess we're glad.
Well, I'm glad. I'm sorry. Well, maybe you should be glad because then we can just stop talking about it already.
Okay, I'll take that. Let's just get to the musical episode already, then I'll be happy.
Okay. On that note, I think our arbitrary scale is going to be rather fitting this week. For our arbitrary scale, I'm going to say 273 shades being cast at Selena.
Wow. Poor Selena.
All right, so out of 273, we'll start with you, Elizabeth. What do you want to give this episode?
The first number that comes to my mind is 198.
Okay, like so 2 out of 3.
I guess so.
I'm just saying roughly. So so we'll give this a C or a D. So what?
Yeah, we'll give it a C.
What didn't you like about the episode?
It's hard to pinpoint what I didn't like about the episode at this moment. Like, I mean, I'm not a big fan of the Black Fairy, which is very obvious. But besides that, what?
You froze for just a moment. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry, stupid computer.
No, you're fine.
I don't like the Black Fairy, which is obvious. But other than that, maybe it was just the way this episode was structured, with the Tin Man being in the past and having nothing to do with the present, and just the lingering questions I still have. Maybe that's why it's not my favorite episode. It's hard to pinpoint why I'm not a big fan of it. I don't know why I can't pinpoint it.
See, and I guess I'm gonna fall on the rare side here, where I actually somewhat enjoyed this episode. I didn't think it stepped on any kind of backstory at all, like it has been doing lately. Because the last few episodes they were able to get through like a lot of kind of unfortunate with like the past few episodes where they were just kind of brushing story aside. I was unhappy with the way they did that, but in doing so, we were able to move forward without having any of that baggage, which I guess was the reason they were doing that in the first place. So I actually really enjoyed this episode. I've always liked Zelina as a character. And it was really cool to get more of her backstory. I just really hate that we're probably not going to learn any more, like you said, about like, the Tin Man. We've still never seen the Scarecrow. And the cowardly, and now that we've seen the Cowardly Lion, we've seen him for all of 2 moments, and we've never seen the 3 of them together.
Going down the yellow brick road.
Right, and that's what I'm saying is we've gotten all of the elements of Oz, but we've gotten no real structure. We don't know.
Yeah.
It's almost as if they don't have any structure to it either. It's like they don't even they hadn't even sat down for a moment and been like, okay, this is our version of Oz. It just feels like every time they bring in Oz, even on the few moments where they like you said, on the arc where they were actually spent quite a bit of time in Oz, All of the story we learned. There's I don't know. Now I'm talking myself out of the score I wanted. I always do this when I think about the episode too much. No, okay. Like I said, I did like the episode. But like I said, it appears I do have a few qualms with how they're treating Oz, just because they've done so well with the elements they have. I just wish they'd take the time to structure it better and give us a bit more backstory on it. So I'm going to say 247 out of 273. I still think that's pretty high.
Yeah, it's pretty high.
All right, so you got any news for us this week, Elizabeth?
Yeah, I have news, and then I have a bit of spoilers too. But for the news first, it's just the ratings. We went up to 0.8 this week. Last week was 0.7, I believe. So it was a little higher, and 2.68 million viewers, I believe, is what that is. So I think that's what that number means. I'm not an expert on reading this stuff, but I am reading it. So, yeah, the ratings went up a little bit. Not too hot, not that much higher, but a little bit higher.
Yeah, and like I was saying to you earlier off camera, on Sundays, unless you're oh, sorry about that. That was Homer.
I could tell.
Unless you're a highly rated cable show on Stars or AMC or something like that, HBO, you're not really going to be getting a whole lot of ratings. Unfortunately, Sunday nights for network TV, they're kind of like happy with getting the like million or two viewers that they're getting on Sunday nights, because like Sunday nights for years has always been like the home of like what for years was the home of The Simpsons, which it still is, but the ratings aren't anywhere near what they were before. But now you've got like Breaking Bad, or well, not anymore, but shows like when Breaking Bad and Mad Men came on the scene, like it totally dominated Sunday nights. And so, now you've got all these shows that get like no ratings. And so when you've got a show like Once Upon a Time that's like, I don't know, 6 years deep and has a somewhat decent fan base, even when it's getting low ratings, it definitely, there's a somewhat more than slim chance that it may get at least another season.
Well, here's hoping.
But I think that you actually had some spoilers about what we may be getting as far as the next season goes, if that does happen.
Yeah, well, let me start off. Okay, so we're going to talk about spoilers. So if you don't want to listen anymore, feel free to stop listening. So, okay.
Okay, so wait, am I supposed to take off my headphones?
No.
What?
Put them back on.
Oh.
You're supposed to listen to my spoilers.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right. So first off, I have to get to my notes here.
Oh, sorry.
So for anyone wondering whether we're going to get to a lot of the secondary characters, like, for example, Lily, Will, Anastasia from the other Once Upon a Time in Wonderland, any of those characters that you've been like, what has happened with them? What's going on with them now? Well, Edward Kitsis and Adam Horowitz have an answer for you. We mulled it over, and we hope someday we will get to it, is what executive producer Edward Kitsis tells EW. This is the article I'm getting this from. They have to pick and choose pretty much where they want to spend their time. Do they want to focus on the main characters and the stories that they're progressing with, or do they want to go back and deal with older characters? So that's what this article basically talks about, is about secondary characters. And at some point, possibly in season 7, with the whole shakeup happening, they will possibly get to it next season, if there is a next season. And speaking of next season, on my phone, hold on, I gotta pull this up on my phone. I already have it ready. So Walking Dead alum Andrew J. West, whom I have never heard of, and I've watched Walking Dead, landed a potentially pivotal role in the Once Upon a Time finale and any possible season 7. TV Line has learned that West, whose recent TV credits include Once's creators Dead of Summer, will guest star in the season 6 finale in an undisclosed role. He could then become a series regular if the bubble drama gets picked up in the fall.
If I'm not mistaken, that is the actor. As far as the undisclosed role goes, a lot of the people are I believe that's the actor that people are speculating that may be playing a older Henry.
Oh! Ooh, okay. Because it says, Once was casting a strong yet vulnerable leading man in his late 20s to mid-30s, a gent who was once optimistic and hopeful, but now is friendless and cynical recluse.
Mm-hmm.
So that is what he will be playing. They're also looking for a 10-year-old with a constant twinkle of mischief in her eye.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that too. And then one more article about the finale of this episode, this season. Do you want to hear this, Bobby?
Hold on a second. I do. Okay. I just thought, okay. I'm sorry. Like I said, a lot of people have been speculating that first character that you mentioned is probably Henry, that has now grown up and is now cynical and whatnot. Almost the Emma role that we saw in the pilot.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm coming to wonder if the 10-year-old precocious girl or whatnot is Robin.
Oh.
Either Robin or no, it'd be a girl, so Robin, yes.
Okay.
Like it's, whatever happens in this finale, we flash forward 10 years, and we now see Henry and whatever's come to pass, whatever. If Emma and them stick around, because like I believe they said it was like Emma, Hook, Regina, and Rumple they were trying to keep on. So if
and Hook.
I thought that's what I said. Regina,
I
Hook.
didn't hear you say Hook.
Oh, that's okay. Regina, Hook, Emma, and Rumple, right?
And Henry, I believe.
Well, now that's what I don't.
That's what you're saying. They may adult him, or
right. It'd be like for some reason those 4 characters would be flash forwarded 10 years to where you get Henry as this late 20s, early 30s, and Robin as a girl.
Okay.
That's just I hadn't even thought about the girl part, because like I was at first when I read that story, I had thought like, okay, maybe Henry has a daughter, and she's trying to.
God, I don't even want to picture that. Oh, little Henry.
Right, but then that would mean he would have to be having a kid pretty early. So now now thinking on that, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But like I said, now that once you said that, I was like, wait a second, what if that 10-year-old girl is Robin? But anyway,
okay.
You had another spoiler. I'm sorry.
Yes. So for the pre-finale on April 30th, so that is this Sunday, viewers will get answers to what makes the Black Fairy tick, says co-creator Eddie Kitsis, including why she never named Rumpelstiltskin and why she gave him up. May 7th, of course, cues up the musical episode during which Emma and Hook are posed to trade vows. Everyone was nervous and giddy and excited, Kitsis says of the musical endeavor. You really felt like it was the pilot again. As for a possible wedding crasher, Jennifer Morrison hints the evil stuff going on. And for the season finale, May 14th, per its title, this is the final battle, says Kitsis, and thus the end of Henry's Storybrooke. Hours are devoted to everything we've set up for 6 years, and the final scene will let you know what we're going to do in the event of a season 7. After 132 episodes, we wanted to be able to complete this chapter and set up a new one. With help from characters played by Andrew J. West and Allison Fernandez. I don't know who Allison Fernandez is playing, though. The
10-year-old girl that you mentioned.
Okay, probably. They tie directly into our future plans, says co-creator Adam Horowitz, as well as what we're currently doing. Also, because you mentioned earlier about the wedding, and how they may do a quick wedding because there's like an hour to spare. Right. I've seen pictures of Charming walking Emma down the aisle. And her dress is beautiful. So I didn't want to see pictures of Emma's dress. I was like, okay, then I'm just gonna wait until I see it on the episode. But no, I scrolled through Facebook and there it is. So
If you're on the
yeah, it's
internet, you cannot avoid spoilers. If you see a spoiler
not
and you're on
really.
the if you see a spoiler and you're on the internet, you cannot blame the person who put that spoiler on there. If you really
Yes,
want to
I
avoid
can.
No, if you really want to avoid spoilers, you know that they're going to be on the internet somewhere. It kind of
Yeah.
sucks though
So
when they see when you like aren't expecting it and you're like looking at your Facebook timeline and then someone like puts a spoiler. Yeah, that does suck.
yeah, but those are my spoilers for this week.
I read some of those articles that you read too. I know the first one you mentioned about the untold stories thing. I'm really disappointed about that, to be honest with you, because I feel like there were definitely a few filler episodes this season that
Hmm.
that they could have utilized that episode in. Um, and they I believe in that article they one of the excuses, for lack of a better word, that they use is that there's only so many, we only have 22 episodes to tell a story. There are shows on TV that show that sometimes 22 episodes are like sometimes too many episodes to tell a story in. I
That's
mean,
true.
there's plenty of shows that get it done in 8 to 10 episodes and are much better for it. That's not to
Yeah.
say that I want less of this show. I'm just saying that to use the only having 22 episodes as an excuse to not be able to tell stories that fans, that they okay, not only stories that fans want to be told, but these are stories that they started to begin with.
Hmm.
The reason that we want them told is because you've already started the story and you never finished it. Um, so I don't know. I just feel like that's an unfair reason. I'm not necessarily saying he's like throwing around blame or anything like that. I just kind of feel like that's a lame reason. But uh, either event, I am really I I would at the very least be very interested to see what they would do with another season, especially with that kind of tease of like, maybe it be a future thing or whatever.
Yeah.
Uh,
I hope for one more season. I really do.
okay. Uh, yeah. I mean, even if we do get one more season, I doubt we'll see any closure to any storylines. Unfortunately, that we want closure to. I kind of feel like that maybe we'll get a comic book or a novel sometime in the future.
Hmm.
But
That'd be cool. I'd read it.
yeah, so would and that happens quite a bit when you have a show that's been on for 6 or 7 seasons and has a large fan base, because it doesn't take much to put out a book. Um, there's a few shows that I wish they would do that for. I was a big fan of Sarah Connor Chronicles, which they just ended abruptly. There was another show with Robert Carlyle on it, actually, just
Wait.
before Once Upon a Time was Stargate Universe.
No, I didn't even know about that.
Yeah, and he played a very like similar character too that was just like very morally gray.
Hmm.
Like
Okay.
he was the villain of that show, but he was like they tried to give him more than just like the reason he was a villain was because he was trying to get back to his dead wife.
Okay.
Well, he was trying to like create a portal in time to be able to save his dead wife.
Aw.
Yeah, so like I said, kind of the same along the same lines. Like he was evil, but there was a reason, and I don't know. If it would only lasted 2 seasons, if you ever get a chance and you like Robert Carlyle, check it out. And I'm not just talking to you; I'm talking to the viewers out there or
Yeah.
listeners, whoever's watching or listening, and we want to hear from you regardless, because like in the past few weeks, we really haven't gotten any listener feedback. Matt C, you hit us up with some great listener feedback, like I believe last week. But if you'd like to hit us up, you can always contact us on Facebook at facebook.com/greetings from Storybrooke. You can email us greetingsfromstorybrooke@gmail.com. Of course, our Twitter's at GFStorybrooke. And the voicemail, if it's still up, 424-274-2352. That's 424-274-2352. And then, Liz, if anyone wanted to reach you, how would they get to you on the internet?
I primarily use Facebook. My name is Elizabeth Placencia, so you can look me up on Facebook, and I'm also on Twitter at Queen_Liz87. Yeah.
Yeah, you got it down. I know you stumbled on the Twitter thing there a few times to begin with, but if you say it every week, you'll get it eventually.
Yeah.
All right, and then of course you can find me on Facebook. Bobby Hawk, HAWKE, and then you can find me on Twitter at Inevitable Hawk, also HAWKE. And then of course you can see us every week. Time might not be always the same here lately, but eventually we're going to get it out to you guys. Hopefully next week it'll be a little more timely. But at least when we have this much time, we have a few more days to kind of mull over the episode and get our notes together, have a little more to talk about.
Yep.
But anyway, either way, hopefully we'll see you guys next week. And of course, I'm doing this again without pulling the theme up on my phone every week. Okay, you finally get the Twitter down, and then eventually I'll get the closing down. Okay. All right. See you guys next week on
Greetings. Oh, you froze.
Okay, let's try that again then.
Okay.
See you guys next week on Greetings from Storybrooke.
Yay!